this January 1st, no longer 2020. Yay! How good it is to be together.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom. How good it is to take those first breaths of this first Shabbat together in our beloved community. I was listening to the Hamilton soundtrack today, as usual, and as usual, and the song that Washington and Hamilton sang, "Teach Them How to Say Goodbye," spoke to me of this time, of this moment when we are on the first day of 2021. Having said, well, we're hoping 2021 is not an angry year, but we're hoping that we're saying goodbye to 2020, which was a year for many of us that was not hard to say goodbye to. But that doesn't.
It's not hard because it's me.
It's not hard because it was a rough year for many of us. But that doesn't mean that there aren't lessons that can't be learned, and that's if we take the time to say goodbye thoughtfully and intentionally, that we can't make the most of this transition. Vayechi, our Torah portion that we are reading this week, marks the end of the book of Genesis, our saying goodbye to the book of Genesis. In it, we see Jacob blesses his family, his grandchildren in particular, before his death. He is buried and returned back in the land of Canaan. And after he dies,
Afterworld.
yep, like the afterworld. We watched Soul this weekend. In case any of you haven't, we give it a 2 thumbs up and highly recommend it.
And there's an afterworld.
With the afterworld in it. After saying goodbye, Joseph brings his brothers back to him, and he promises that this reunion that he has been sharing with them, this kindness he has shown them in their regathering time, that it will continue even after their father's death. And then he asks them to promise him something. He says he knows he will live the rest of his life in the land of Egypt, but please, he begs.
Is he a...
He is. He's helping the royalty in Egypt. That's exactly right. And he's gonna.
with all his gold?
Yep, he's gathered with all his gold. But then he says, even after that, I would. Oh boy, and the cat's participating now. We've got the whole Brooklyn small crowd in on this activity. He says, after all of this, I would please, please, please like to be returned to my home once it is possible, once the Israelites leave and make their way back out of Egypt. So in Jacob and Joseph's end, we see so many themes, and we, at the end of reading it, say these words that we say at the end of every Torah book of the Torah: Chazak, Chazak, v'nit chazek, from strength to strength, and may we be strengthened. Jacob and Joseph's lives contain an almost relentless series of ups and downs, moments of extraordinary connection, moments of love, moments of success, and moments of abject loss and devastation. But in this portion, we see that they look back through all of it and find chazak, they find strength. In the midst of the loss, they find and name the blessings that have come to them. And so as we enter 2021, I ask us to spend a moment wondering, in all of the hardship, were there blessings that found us in this past year?
What blessings?
I don't know, we'll have to think of the blessings. They look forward and they see chazak, strength.
Shabbat.
Shabbat is definitely a blessing.
Hanukkah.
The holiday.
Yes.
Also going to be harder to explain that one to the community, but okay. They look forward and they see chazak, strength and hope for better days ahead and blessings in the next generation that is present among them. And so I ask you to pause for a moment at some point during services and ask, what are the hopes that you are holding on to for this year ahead that help you in this dark time? And through the journey,
Are you saying the things
through the sacred journey, nit chazek, they were strengthened, may we be strengthened, and may we strengthen one another as we take the steps ahead into this new year. Ken yehi ratzon, may it be so. We continue with the lighting of the lights, bringing the light and the joy and the warmth into our homes together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlek ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom to everyone. And because this is our first Shabbat service, our first Shabbos of this new year, let us also say Shehechianu, recite Shehechianu through all of it. How amazing it is that we have been sustained to reach this moment together. And as I look out at all of your faces, and I'm imagining all of you on Facebook and wherever you're watching, just sort of stretching our arms out to each other, our hearts out to each other, as we begin this new year, gathering the strength, as Rabbi Carey talked about, gathering our strength, gathering our chizuk, our that deep strength that we need, that fortitude to enter this new year. So let's take all of that, all that we have lived through, all that we are looking forward to, all that we are yearning for, and say, oh, thank God we've reached this moment. And Dan, we have moved ahead a little bit in our, there you Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Good it is to bring this new moment in together.
And one of the blessings that has been with us in this year, this unprecedented year, as Didi said, is this eternal gift of Shabbat. And in particular, the gift of Shabbat with this community, the sweetness of joining every Friday night and knowing that we will touch sacred time together. And so we invite you to join us with the blessing over the wine or the juice, whatever is adding a little sweetness to your celebration. Please, we see some mugs maybe left over from hot chocolate Shabbat, whatever it is that's adding to your celebration. Please join with us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen l'chaim. Oh. And Dee and I baked challah today, and we were inspired by the sweetness and hope for a new year and coated it in cinnamon sugar. So I hope you smell this fresh baked cinnamon sugar challah in your homes. Please join, apparently just me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. It's a sweet sustenance in the new year.
Amen. And this first Shabbos gives us the reflection, the space to think about what our song will be this year. We're singing out a new song. Shiru l'Adonai, Shiru shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai. Come, friends, it is time for us to welcome the spirit of Shabbos, the spirit of resting and renewal, of creating space for our spirits on this first Shabbat of 2021. L'chadodi, come, friends, let us greet this Shabbos together. Lechan dodi lekrat kala, yalla la, yalla la, yalla. P'nei Shabbat Nekavelai Lechandodi lekrat kala Yala yala P'nei Shabbat Nekavela Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Hishmi'anu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad U'shemo echad L'shemo l'tiferet v'litila Lechandodi lekrat kala Yala P'nei Shabbat Nekavelai Lechandodi lekrat kala Yala P'nei Shabbat Nekavela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha Ki hi mekor havaracha Merosh mikedem nisucha Sof ma'aseh v'machshav achila Lechandodi lekrat kala Yala P'nei Shabbat Nekavelai Lechandodi lekrat kala Yala P'nei Shabbat Nekavela Hidoreri Kiva orech kumi ori Shir daveri Kevod Adonai alayich nigla Lechandodi lekrat kala Yala P'nei Shabbat Nekavelai Lechandodi lekrat kala Yala P'nei Shabbat Nekavela. And we reach the last verse, and we can either stand to face a door or a window to let that Shabbos presence into our hearts, or you can just put your hand over your heart. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala Gam besimcha uv'tzohala Toch emunei am segula Bo'i kala Lechandodi lekrat kala Yala P'nei Shabbat Nekavela Lechandodi lekrat kala Yala P'nei Shabbat Nekavela. We turn to the Baruch Hu, the prayer that leads us into the Ma'ariv service, into our evening service. And on this Shabbat, we begin with these questions. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Can you hear my voice? As we enter this new year, am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya-la-la-la-la, 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 ya-la-la-la-la. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. And we continue with an excerpt from a poem by Marge Piercy on the Ve'ahavta. So you shall love what is holy with all your courage, with all your passion, with all your strength. Let the words that have come down shine in our words and in our actions. We must teach our children to know and understand them. We must speak about what is good and what is holy within our homes when we are working, when we are at play, when we lie down, and when we get up. Let the work of our hands speak of goodness. Let it run in our blood and glow from our doors and our windows. And tonight we are taking the time and the space for personal prayer and reflection on this first day. And it just feels so right just to feel our hearts together as one community as we move into the Amidah. We'll begin with those 6 words together. Adonai sfatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. May my mouth open, may my heart open in prayer, and may I be able to express what is in my heart to deepen and enrich the meaning in my life. So we'll begin with those 6 words together, and then we'll take some time for a silent Amidah, meeting back here again. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Please allow this song to accompany your prayers. Feeling how much we are the light for each other. How good it feels to still see that light shining in each other's eyes. And this year, let's let our light shine brighter than ever. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Take it around the world with me, I'm gonna let it shine. Take it around the world with me, I'm gonna let it shine. Take it around the world with me, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. You can't my little light out, no, I'm gonna let it shine. You can't my little light out, I'm gonna let it shine. You can't my little light out, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Cover it up with a barrel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Cover it up with a barrel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Cover it up with a barrel, no, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And that was a special request from one of our first graders who was in need of a little extra light as this new year begins. So we turn our hearts now to those who are in need of healing, which I believe includes every single one of us. So as always, you are welcome to put yourself into this prayer if you are in need of healing, of body and mind or spirit. And we send our healing prayers out to those who are on the front lines, all the health workers, all the people who are making this possible to live through this time. And in particular, on our Mishaberach list tonight. And please feel free to put in any chat who's ever in your heart tonight. We send our prayers out to Stephen Boris, to 6 members of the Gendra family, of Linda Blair's family, who have COVID. We're thinking tonight of David, Michael, Rachel, Lauren, Alan, Jessica. Prayers for their speedy recovery. For Michelle Perkins, Milo Baudet, for Judy Angel, Jean Borowski, for Grenache Bayless Ben Shandelmina, for Andy A., Leon Patrick Young, for Arlene Ponte and Jeff Alexander, for Alan and Joanne Travis, for Carmelita D'Souza, for Fiona Sutton, Tara Coyne, Jeanette DeMarco, for Ayana Masla, Marla Weiner, for Nelson Lovins, Jill and Louis Landsberg, Joyce Bean, Kristen Geffen, for Sonit Purv, for Bob Liberman, for John Nunziato, Jake Yaki Renu, Norman and Fran Waxler. Prayers for Sue Boardman, for Adele Ack and Angela Panzone, for Linda and Fred Lukasik, for Nancy Alpert and Cheryl Ruxin. Peter Nichols, for Lester Siegel, for Ed Snow, Emma Watkins, for Izzy Morse, the Mortel family, Janice Weisenfeld, for Nadia Finkelstein, Joel Seiner, Rosalind Hoffman and Joel Meeks, for Judy Planchin, for Bernice Hutzler-Stein, for Debbie Gilman, for Neil Daniels Midman, and Abraham Lyon. We ask for healing prayers for Ron and Patty Shepard, for Mary Jane Gendra, for Jennifer Chase, Ellen Lee, Judy Donaldson, Isaac Altman Sagan, Rabbi David Nelson, for Jeff Bray, and for Arlene Edelson. For Vicki Oman, for Gail Tregor, for Melissa Martin and Cassie Martin, for Ken Blumberg and Jimmy Krasnow. Continued prayers for Asher Guy Ben Chava Verhersh Shmuel, for Justin and Jen Alexander, for Gladys Schuker, for Claude Lieber, Nancy Lazaro Lieber, for Kathy Nath, and for Mason Lee. And for all those that have names that have entered our chat, for all that we are thinking about, we just send healing out to all who need it. Mi shebeirach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel veLeah, Hu yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. Elna Rifana la, Elna Rifana, Mi shebeirach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel veLeah, Hu yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. May there be a speedy and complete healing for all. We turn to our Aleinu for tonight. It is upon us as this new year begins, with all that it contains, to treat our neighbor as we ourselves would want to be treated. Ve'ahavta l're'acha kamocha. We take this upon ourselves to love our neighbor, to love our fellow human, our fellow earthling, as ourselves. Please join me in singing Hareini Mikabelet. This is what I take upon myself. Hareini Mikabelet alayet mitzvat haboreh ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha reacha kamocha. Hareini mekabelet alayet mitzvat haboreh מצוות הבורא, ואהבת לרעך כמוך, רעך כמוך.
As one year turns to the next, we realize that time on a calendar is linear, but our lives are not. And that we, as we move forward, bring all who have touched us in the past into our future as well. When we take the time in community to name those who are living in our hearts who have affected our lives, we promise to live our lives so that their lives may be a blessing, to live to be their living legacy. If there is somebody you are remembering today, somebody whose name you hear in your heart, whose voice you hear in your head, and you'd like to bring it into our community, we invite you to add that person's name into the chat function of the technology you are using to join our community. Our community this week remembers Ashley Altman and Chuck Levison. We honor the yard site of Jennifer Robertson, Robert Schwartzman, Nancy Goodman, Sonia and Paul Hackle, Ruth Zirin, and Bernard Coleman. We are in the year of remembering Shirley Siegel, Jack Vance, Billy Mortel, Helen Krancer, Myra Perez, Ida Bershad, Jim Medford, and Jerry Sachs. We join our voices, becoming one community of memory, with the words of mourners Kaddish, weaving their lives and stories into our own so that they may be a blessing. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chay echon uvyom echon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala uvizman kari v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Vitadar, vitale, vitalal, shmei dekudasha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiram be'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru. Amen. May the source of peace make peace in the heavens, peace among us all, peace for all the world, as we say. Amen.
So we wish you all a good Shabbos, a Shabbat Shalom. This first, I just have to keep saying it to believe it. We are out of 2020. This first Shabbat of 2021. Thank you for being here, for joining us in prayer and in song and in community. And we thought we'd end this first Shabbat by just calling those Shabbos angels, those messengers from on high, to bless us. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashem. sharet malachei elyon melech malachei hamlachim akadosh baruch hu boachem leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon melech malachei hamlachim akadosh baruch hu barchuni leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon melech malachei hamlachim akadosh baruch hu